Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Clueless Yanks podcast. This is your boy, Logan.
What's poppin', y'all? It's Jake.
What's going on? It's Sling.
Last week of Premier League action, our last pod for the season, the Premier League season. A lot of footy over the weekend. How y'all boys feeling?
Sad.
I mean,
I'm just glad it's over, to be honest with you, at this point.
I'm
Don't
happy.
cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Facts.
I'm going to smile because it's over and cry because it happened.
Yeah.
See, for me, if I look at the overall season, we started out really bad, and then we got really good, and then we kind of ended on an in the middle of the road note. But we finished top 4 playing Champions League football next year, and we got one more game coming up in the final.
Yeah,
so I'm anxious.
And by the way, only me and Sling are allowed this podcast to say fuck Spurs because they just did y'all a massive favor yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck
So you can't say it.
Fuck
I
Spurs.
love Spurs right now.
You have to show them, okay, that's just disgusting.
What? I can't
Love? That's fucking gross.
Yeah, that's just nasty bastard.
What, you said you love Spurs?
Thanks a lot, Gareth and Harry.
You must love Hitler, too.
He probably does if he loves Spurs.
All right.
Just a joke, by the way. Sarcasm. So yeah, all 10 games on at the same time this past weekend. Wasn't really able to catch any of the other games because I wanted to torture myself and watch Arsenal one last time, although it went well for us on the day, but didn't really watch any of the important games. I know you were tuned in.
Dude, I know y'all probably weren't, but I was nervous as fuck the whole goddamn day, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh my god, this game, honestly, it rides on us, but then we didn't fucking come out and perform, but then our Lord and Savior did, though.
Yeah, I actually did
Christ.
pull up Leicester City and Spurs like in the 80th minute or so and watch kind of the end of that while I was also watching the Arsenal game. Besides that, I was just kind of following along with scores, but then caught all the highlights from the Big Six games as well.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I mean it was a pretty big weekend. I kind of like. Do y'all like that show where they do all of them at the same time?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
because
I
then
like
you
it too.
can't,
You can't-
wait on to
exactly.
see somebody's result. And then
Nobody has like an
see
advantage
play.
really.
It's kinda
Like I mean, you might if you hear like, oh yo, by the way, this team's losing. If we win, this happens. Or
Yeah, like at halftime you could hear, but other than that,
And
I like it.
to like the fans that are like in the crowd. It like adds like that extra like, intensity too. Because like even if like their match is kind of fucked, like they're like checking the scores of the other game that's like going on.
Yeah.
And then like I know like in the Arsenal game, like
yeah, they were getting hyped once
Yeah.
Leicester wasn't fucking blowing
and then
it.
once the Emirates got fucking quiet when Spurs took the lead, and it was just kind of like, damn, which kind of sucked for us. But if you're a fan, you're watching.
Well, at the same time, though, like I'm not going to be upset about not being in the European Conference League next season, so I'm not really going to complain about that at all.
I'm just gonna weep a lot about it.
The only thing I would have liked is, yeah, it would have been cool to finish above Spurs, but I mean, you're finishing 7th, we're finishing 8th. Is that really something to brag about?
Damn,
Not
bro.
really.
They
Tallest
did
midget
finish
award.
above y'all.
That's whatever. They're still never going to win a trophy ever again. So, but anyways, let's jump into it. Let's get into the review. Obviously, we had games before yesterday. Kind of go over those games real quick. We don't want to get into them too much depth because the important ones were yesterday, and that's what is on everybody's mind. But Man City, they actually somehow lost to Brighton. Well, not somehow. They were down to 10 men, but they were losing, or they were winning 2-0. And then when they were down to 10 men, Brighton came back and won 3-2 over Graham Potter. I think that was the first time Man City's been up 2-0, and then someone just came back and beaten them by 3 goals. And that was the first time Brighton in the Premier League has ever been down 2-0 and then come back to win. Of course, against the champion, so everybody saw that one coming.
My Seagulls.
Yeah.
My fucking
That's a hell of a way to end the season, though, if you're Brighton, dude, because they've struggled all fucking year.
Well,
And then
they,
to
know,
finally-
second to last game of the season, not the actual last game of the
Oh, yeah.
season, because they finished that. Not as good, but we'll talk about that in a second. But then you had United during the week. They had second basically wrapped up, but they did drop points to Fulham, relegated Fulham. Our guy Tim Ream actually started that game, captained them,
Yes, sir.
and played really good from what I saw. His contract is running out at the end of this season, and so I think he wanted to give him one last game for the club against Manchester United, and you got a result. So not that it means really much to them for their season because they're getting relegated regardless, but a good result, and it's good to see Tim out there and playing good for them because he is going to probably be a part of at least one of the rosters for the summer for the men's national team. And I saw a lot of Fulham fans had like a lot of good things to say with him because Ream was one of those guys that, yes, Fulham has been up and down a few times recently in the Premier League, but Ream was there in the Premier League, and then when they went down, he was still there playing for him and always giving good performances. He was really a starting center back for them for years until this season. So I even saw people saying like he's a legend at the club, which I don't know if that's true, but he's an important figure at the club, a good servant for several years. So shout out Tim Ream playing in that game, getting the draw against Fulham. Man United drew against Fulham and our boy Tim Ream. And then Chelsea, they got a huge win on the weekend that gave them a little bit of breathing room that they were able to take advantage of the second time this past weekend. But they beat Leicester City 2-1 during the week. Basically a game y'all had to win. And
yeah, no, because there was like a way that even if we didn't win that game, and let's say we like drew, there was still a way that we could get back into the top four if we won our game next week. But it then would rely on Liverpool and Leicester City themselves to drop their.
And y'all did not win the game at the weekend, so
yeah.
But we'll talk about that a little bit. Just kind of run through these scores. Liverpool beat Burnley 3-0 during the week as they continued their hot run, their hot streak. And then Arsenal, they beat Crystal Palace 3-1 during the week. A winner late in the game by Gabriel Martinelli, I think like the 91st minute, and then Pepe had a nice little solo goal to seal it at 3-1. But anyways, I wanted to run through those real quick, and now we'll get into the games that really mattered. And that was the games, obviously they all matter the same, but the most recent ones, the ones from yesterday, the final game, Matchweek 38 of the season. We'll kick it off with Man City. They got a nice little 5-0 win versus Everton. Actually knocked Everton a couple places down the table. They went from 8th to 10th, but they absolutely destroyed Everton. Do y'all see how old Sergio Aguero got a nice little send-off?
Yeah.
And he scored he scored a couple goals too. His first goal was kind of dirty. He dribbled past some dude and then outside the foot finished it.
Yeah,
but he is heading now to Barcelona, obviously, to go play with Lionel Messi if Messi stays, which I think they're thinking he might now that Aguero's coming. But
dude, that hyperlink on FIFA.
Oh, true.
Fuck.
Except Aguero's card on FIFA is kind of
Yo, chill out,
a little suspect. Unless they give him a flashback or some shit.
Definitely.
But he's a legend. Probably cities. I mean, I don't know a lot of ancient city history because the only city history that I know about is the ones that's happened within the last 10 years because that's when they became relevant again.
So ancient.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know any of their ancient history, but I would say Aguero is probably the biggest legend that time. Maybe David Silva, who left last season, but Aguero now he scored the most goals for them in the Premier League. I think he's actually the club's top scorer now as well. And he actually has the most ever career goals in Premier League era for one team with 184. He tied Wayne Rooney with his first goal at 183, and then he got that second goal and broke Wayne Rooney's record with 184. Yeah. So I guess like Alan Shearer, who's obviously is the leading goal scorer. He played at Blackpool, I believe, and Newcastle, so kind of separated those. But Aguero leaves with another record, leaves as City's most decorated player, really. And you could see that they all loved when he came on. It was good to see him score. And then also, I think I sent you all that video of Martin Tyler, like reenacting his iconic Aguero. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Both guys kind of on the back end of their career. Even Martin Tyler too. He's getting up there in years, but reenacting that iconic Sergio Aguero goal back in 2012, 2013.
Yeah, I don't want to think about it. Bring back Martin Tyler to FIFA.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss that man.
Yeah, I don't know how many more years he has left commentating, but
alive.
All right.
Okay.
But this is obviously Sergio Aguero's last year at Man City. It won't be his last year playing, moving on to Barcelona, so it's not like he's dropping down too much of a level either, going to play with Lionel Messi. But that was cool to see him get in and win, and then Man City, they capped off their Premier League title run with a freaking just absolute thraxing 5-0 of Everton. Not a good end of the season for Everton, who started off the season really, really strong. I think they were even in the top 4 race for a while. So that was the first game, and then we'll move on to another team that was basically playing for nothing. They had second place wrapped up, and that was Manchester United. Also keeping in mind that they have the Europa League final on Wednesday, so they played a lot of youth players, a lot of backups. They got a 2-1 win against Wolves. I think Angelo was his name or something like that. He scored his first ever first ever goal for Manchester United. And then Juan Mata, which is his send-off game, his last game in a United shirt, he scored a penalty, and that ultimately was the game-winning goal in the end as they won 2-1. Also, there's a lot of lasts happening this season. A lot of people moving on. Wolves manager Nuno Espirito Santo, who is kind of a folk hero there at Wolverhampton, and he's moving on. Obviously, they didn't have the season they really would have liked this year. And that has a lot to do with Raul Jimenez getting hurt.
Their star striker got murdered.
And also Diogo Jota. You don't just replace him going to Liverpool in the offseason. So I don't think he actually got fired. I think it was kind of like a mutual thing. Like he's ready for a different challenge, and Wolves is like, maybe you've done a lot for us, but maybe it is kind of time for us to go a different way too. Yeah. So they finished the season with a loss to Manchester United. Man United solidify, which was their second place result in the Premier League over the weekend with that victory. Now let's move on to some bigger games, some games that did have meaning, some games that had a lot of meaning. We're talking about the top 4 race. Obviously, there was 3 teams going into the weekend. It was Chelsea, Leicester City, and Liverpool. I believe Chelsea were in 3rd. Liverpool were in 4th, weren't they? I think they were because they had So and then Leicester City were in 5th. Mm-hmm. And basically it was simple. If Liverpool and Chelsea won, they'd be in the top 4. But if one of those 2 dropped points, there was a scenario if Leicester won, they could move into the top 4. Yeah. And some things did happen. We'll get the one out of the way that's easy. Liverpool, they took care of business. They knew if they won, they would be in. That's 5 straight victories to finish out the season for them to secure top 4 when they really looked buried, really just a month ago, maybe even less than that. Jurgen Klopp said that this was his greatest ever achievement as a Liverpool manager. I don't know if that's true, but I get the meaning. Making Champions League football means a lot more money to go spend on players, and also that's just a bigger attraction because top players want to come play in the Champions League. Yeah. And so they wrapped up a 2-0 victory, but then Chelsea they didn't really make it as easy on themselves, did they?
Yeah, no. The thing was, dude, like up until Aston Villa's first goal, we were fucking dominating the game the entire fucking time. Like possession, we just had it in their half for.
That's y'all's low key problem though, is that y'all will be dominating possession and shit, but were you really creating a ton of chances?
Yeah, dude, we had 23 shots that game.
Were they good shots? Good, or were they?
There were most of them were iffy shots, but there were a few. Like Mason Mount had a fucking ball in the middle of the box.
Oh yeah, he skied.
He just skies.
Probably should have left it for Pulisic.
Yeah, no, that's what.
Because Mount was coming in stretching on his left foot, whereas Pulisic was coming in on his right foot. Yeah, I saw what you're talking about.
For us, dude, and that honestly might have changed the outcome of the game because you get momentum and Aston Villa has to try and score. But yeah, no, we ended up giving a corner, and they had a really nice set piece play.
Timo was sleeping.
Yeah,
Timo was sleeping.
Traore came around the back, and he kind of scuffed the shot, but it ended up working in his favor because he put it top left.
And your goalkeeper got hurt on that play.
Yeah,
I saw.
He dove into the post.
And he had to come out of the game for our guy Kepa. Yeah. But I did see. I think you've probably seen it too. That it says that he should be fine for the Champions League. That would be if y'all had to start Kepa and go in the Champions League final.
I literally.
Oh my god.
But yeah, and then Aston Villa right after halftime they get a penalty. They put it away, and then. Our boy Ben Chilwell actually had a goal that looked like it was saved off the line, but it showed that it ended up going in. I swear, dude, Ben Chilwell is more of a striker to me than fucking Timo. I swear he scores.
He gets better, or he gets forward pretty well.
And he has actually clinical finishing for a left back.
He scored some absolute bangers when he was at Leicester City.
Yeah.
Our guy Pulisic with the assists.
Yeah.
Aretha Balaguer account on Twitter is
he is
such a W.
Oh my god, that account is just unreal.
Yeah, and then we were trying to come back late in the 89th minute as Piliqueta had a little run-in with Grealish on the ground, and as he was getting up, he kind of just gave him a little hammer to the face.
Grealish sold the fuck out of that too.
Man, that's a red.
It wasn't even it was kind of almost a slap because I don't even think did he really close his fist?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But he did have a cast on his arm or on his hand, so it probably was. It probably was like a fist. Yeah. But I think Grealish did sell it because you could see he got hit and he was like, oh, and then he was like, oh,
yeah,
that little split second delayed reaction.
If I sell this,
yeah. And so, I wonder if that means that Aspilicueta would be suspended for the first 3 games of next season. I don't know if red cards carry over into the new season or not. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I hope he is.
But yeah,
But
so
I hope he play all first 3 games.
even though we did end up losing that game 2-1, we still finished in 4th place because of the next game.
Yeah, Leicester City, they were looking good against Spurs. They went up 1-0 off of a penalty early on. Spurs did get the equalizer, but then in the second half, they got another penalty, and they went up 2-1, both penalties scored by Jamie Vardy. And it was like the 81st or 82nd minute. Leicester's still hanging on. They know at the time they would move into the top 4 over Chelsea. They would be playing Champions League football, and somehow they outbottled the team that is known for bottling in Tottenham Hotspur, and they just completely capitulated. They gave up an equalizer. Then they gave up a winner for Spurs. And then just for good measure, like on one of the last kicks of the game, they gave up another goal, and they ended up losing 4-1. 2 complete choke job
4-2.
seasons. Yeah, 4-2. I don't know why I said 2-1. I was looking at this score, that's why. But 2 complete back-to-back choke jobs at the end of the season for Leicester. And you can give them a lot of credit, and I agree. They went from not really being – they're one of those teams that would be in the Premier League for a couple years, and they'd go down for like 4 or 5 years. Then they come back. They might stay in for a year or two, and then they go back down. And when they came back up in 2014-15, they barely survived relegation. And then next season they had that crazy, unreal, one of the greatest or biggest odds title winners in any sport ever by winning the Premier League that season in 15-16. And then ever since then, they've had some really strong seasons. They played in Europe a few seasons, and obviously they just won their first ever FA Cup. And so they really are solidifying themselves as a really good quality side in the Premier League. And they've been finishing in the top 6 for a lot of the past few years. But and you have to give them credit for that. But at the same time, man, being in the top 4 for real. Being in the top 4 for so long, it was 248 days they were in the top 4, and then they go out on the last day of the season. I believe they were in the top 4 last year until the last day of the season too, or it might have been like the second to last day of the season. But it was very similar. They were in the top 4 all season last year as well, and they fell out on the last day or two. And then this year they're in the top 4 all season. They fall out. That 4-2 win for Spurs ultimately confirmed that they would be securing the European Conference League spot. So have fun. Have fun in that trophy. You're going to be playing Wi-Fi passwords from Eastern Europe. I don't even know what teams you'll be playing. You'll be playing teams like Antwerp and some shit like that. I don't even know the teams you'll be playing.
They're just gonna bottle against racism FC in the final.
Like
anyway.
Skachowiak, like some.
Now, low key respect Prague. They won't be in that. They'll probably be in the Champions League actually.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, don't compare them to shitty ass Spurs. All right, show respect. But yeah, Spurs they secured their European Conference League spot. I was actually under the original assumption that because in the past, if the FA Cup winner is already in the Champions League, number 7 in the Premier League goes to Europa League. So I was like, okay, maybe 8th then gets Conference League. But there's actually a rule where in the Premier League, and I think all leagues, you can't have more than 7 teams in European competition. So obviously 1 through 7, and in the Premier League would be those 7 teams. So they finished 7th with Everton losing 5. I think if they would have won, it wouldn't have mattered with Everton regardless. But they finished 7th. They get that European Conference League spot. Y'all boys have fun in that. Them coming back and beating Leicester, Leicester outbottling the bottlers, that solidified Arsenal's place as well. As we got a 2-0 win on the day against Brighton. Actually, a really good performance in my opinion. I thought we played pretty well, but with Spurs getting that victory, we weren't able to get the Conference League spot. I'm not disappointed by that at all, but it would have been nice to finish ahead of Spurs. I guess they get to brag for a little bit. Oh, congrats, y'all finished 7th, and we finished 8th. So, I mean, it's the tallest midget contest. So,
pretty much.
Yeah, it's whatever. We did finish above Everton, though, because of Man City drubbing them 5-0. So, we finished 8th back-to-back seasons.
Not what we wanted.
Yeah, not very good. Our 2 worst seasons in the Premier League era. I think this is probably our worst season since like 1995. So yeah, we did finish in the same spot, but we did finish 5 points ahead of our points tally for last year. So yes, progress. We also won an FA Cup last year, so we don't really have any trophy to celebrate this year.
We were only like 6 points off the top 4.
Yeah, and you think about some of the shit that's gone against us this season.
It's not really
like the Wolves game. Yeah. That should have been a win. And there was other games where we got shafted by referees, and then there was other games where we would just do the dumbest shit you've ever seen. I think performance-wise, we were right there.
Third most points since Boxing Day.
Yeah, and then the second most points since New Year's.
Yep.
So,
I mean, a lot to build on.
People can say there hasn't been a lot of progress, or they'll actually say there hasn't been any progress. And, I don't think there's been a ton, but I think you put too much into account of how bad we were against Villarreal, which is good. We're fighting for our season in that game or in that tie against Villarreal, and it was an awful loss. But those numbers that Sling just said, third since Christmas in the Premier League and second since the new year of 2021 started. That's progress as much as you want to hate, or much as you want to hate on and don't want to give Arteta and the team any credit. But we were like 15th or 16th going into that game right before on Boxing Day, and ended up 8th, which is not where we want to be at all. But it could have been a lot worse. And I feel like we did make progress, but that 2-month span from the end of October to the end of December it ruined our season, just completely buried us. But we finished the season strong, 5 straight victories in the Premier League, tied with Liverpool for the best form. So, obviously we're the second best team in the league at the moment. Just wish the season didn't end. No, I'm very glad the season is over with. Ready to start back up next season. Hope we had some new guys in the off season. But we finished the season strong, and who typified that more was your guy Pepe. So he was balling at the end of the season.
I mean, just lights out against Brighton. Two nice 2 goals there. Nice.
Yep, 2 goals against Palace in the week, and then 2 goals against Brighton, like you said. His first goal was really nice, really good touch, because it was kind of fizzing there quickly by Chambers. And then he was on his weak foot, which he knows he probably can't place and pick out a spot as well. Mm-hmm. So he just hit it low and hard and went right between the goalie's legs. And then that second goal was nice as well. It was a really good pass by Odegaard too, to just kind of slip him in perfectly on pace. And then he tucked it away between Dunk's legs and then passed around the goalkeeper. So, yeah, Pepe finished the season strong. Me and Sling been on this podcast telling y'all to stop hating on that man.
I'm getting sick and fucking tired of being sick.
And that the disrespect isn't real. I tweeted something and I was like, the reason a lot of people give him hate is because he cost £72 million, which is not his fault. He didn't ask to be bought for that much. But in reality, he's still a really good 40 to 50 million pound player, and that's very valuable at any club, especially a club like Arsenal. He's one of our best players this season. So I hope that at least within our fan base, because rivals are going to troll and talk crap regardless. So you can't really control that. But I hope our fan base at least is kind of opening to their eyes that we have a really good player there. He might not be this insane world-class player that you would have hoped from this price tag, but he's still a really good player and really important to this team going forward.
Yeah, I mean, definitely most improved this season in my book.
Hopefully he takes another step next year.
What do you have, 19 goals and assists this year?
No, he had I think he had more because, he had 15 goals and 4 assists going to the last game, and he got 2 more goals. So he had 21 goals and assists this season, which is pretty good. That's not bad at all. And I think we have settled the Pepe and Pulisic debate.
Yeah,
once and for all.
Pepe is clear.
No, Pepe is better.
Dude, if Pulisic had any attacking help, he'd be so fucking good.
Yeah, Pepe is doing this shit on his own. You're trying to compare Chelsea's attack to Arsenal's. Ours have been ass this year.
Dude, ours has been terrible too, bro.
It hasn't been as bad as ours.
But it has been bad.
Y'all create a lot more chances, though. Y'all's problem is you just don't finish shit. We actually are bad at creating chances.
Yeah, I would say Pulisic's finishing in the beginning of the season was pretty bad, but then it picked up a little bit.
He kind of had a shitty finish yesterday, if you know what I'm talking about. Where he it got deflected behind for a corner, where in reality he sliced that shit and it was going 10 yards wide.
Chill out.
But yeah, Pepe ends the season really strong, settles the Pulisic and Pepe debate. I don't know why Dan James and Bergwijn were ever in that debate themselves. That was settled a long time ago. But now the Pepe and Pulisic debate has also been settled.
Clear.
So you can believe what you want to believe. But that's it for the Premier League season. They wrap it up. Man City, they win the title. Manchester United, they finish second. Liverpool somehow come all the way back and finish third. Chelsea, all thanks to their buddies Tottenham Hotspur, were able to hold on to that fourth place spot.
Yes, sir.
And Leicester, once again,
fourth place.
Hey, we taking fourth.
Once again, Leicester bottles it at the end of the season. They drop out. They drop to fifth. They'll be playing Europa League football again next year. West Ham, the surprises of the season, in my opinion, they finished sixth. I think that kind of went under the radar that nobody was even talking about them yesterday because they had already wrapped up that spot. But they finished sixth. They'll be playing in the Europa League next season. And then Spurs, they get the final European qualification spot, the European Conference League, in seventh place. So a big season done and over with. congrats once again to Manchester City on their title. And everybody else has got some catching up to do.
Don't back in anger.
All right, let's take a break from the Premier League. We'll be taking a break actually for a couple of months because it is the off season. But let's take a break from the footy talk from our Premier League Big Six teams, and let's get into our U.S. men's national team rundown. But before we do that, almost forgot, gotta give our picks update of the week.
Yes, sir.
All right, here's what we got. The current score, as it stands, is Jake at the top of the pick leaderboard this week with 17 points.
Yes, sir.
I sit in a close second with 15 points, and Logan sits in even closer third place with 14 points. So
we only got 2 games to pick this week. So
2 games.
Me and you better hope we get both of them right and both of them perfectly right.
Yeah, and we know Jake's going to pick Chelsea in the Champions League. So
and y'all that's it after that.
We know
I know
Jake's
who
going
y'all
to
are
miss at
picking.
least one pick.
That's true.
So you're going to get that wrong. So
we got a chance to come back. Jake's cocky right
He's
now.
counting his chickens too soon, it seems like.
Yeah, he's got too much
count these
dip on his
nuts.
ship. There's 2 of them. Or I guess in your case 0. But we've got a tight race here, and I think we've got a chance here to come back.
Yeah, a couple more picks until our picks for this year are done with, until the Premier League fires back up in August. But so now let's get into the U.S. men's national team rundown, and Jake's got to take us away.
All right, yeah. So we got a lot to talk about this week. So hopefully you'll have plenty of time. We have to get some disappointing news out of the way first. Unfortunately, both of our Americans in the championship playoff semifinals, DK and Cameron Carter-Vickers, were knocked out this past week, with Brentford coming back and beating Bournemouth and Swansea holding on to beat Barnsley.
Yeah, disappointing. Obviously, the dream matchup would have been them two getting to play against each other in the final. But Bournemouth, they had a 1-0 win in their first leg at home. They went to Brentford, lost 3-1. Brentford scored a winner like late in the game to win it, because they still would have went through off that away goal if it stayed 2-1. But they lost late. From everything that I've seen, Bournemouth fans absolutely love Cameron Carter-Vickers, and I saw today that they've already contacted Spurs, because that's where he's still at on their books technically, even though he's like never played for Spurs. But they've already contacted Spurs and trying to get a permanent move for CCV. So hopefully I'd be down for that. I think that's a good spot for him. He's a team that next season could very likely get promoted and back up into the Premier League. And so he gets another year of lots of playing time in the championship. And then, hopefully he'll be 25, 26 by the time 2022 season comes around. And hopefully he'll be back up in the Premier League with Bournemouth. But so, yeah, he got knocked out. And then our guy DK probably played his last game for Barnsley. It was weird. He didn't start the game. The manager said it was nothing against DK, but he seemed like they were focusing too much on just kicking the ball up to DK and hoping he would do something in the first leg instead of just playing normal football, which is kind of true. They do that a lot. Yeah. But so that's why I didn't start him. He brought him on at halftime, though. They were down 1-0 at the time, which was 2-0 over aggregate. And they actually scored to tie the game 1-1, although they were still down 2-1 on aggregate, and they were not able to get that second goal to put them through. So they go out. It will be Swansea City versus Brentford to get promoted. Wouldn't mind seeing Brentford get promoted into the Premier League. I don't think they've been there for a while, but that game will be, I believe, this week. And yeah, unfortunately, both of our Americans are done for the season.
R.I.P. But yeah, so another bit of sad news is Josh Sargent and Werder Bremen were officially relegated from the Bundesliga on Saturday. It'll be interesting to see, though, if Josh has played his final game for the club.
I hope to God.
Free
for real. Free that man.
I saw pictures of him, like, emotional after the game, and somebody was like, he's crying tears of joy that he's escaping or some shit like that. But I was like, that makes me feel a little bit better.
But to be fair and to be honest, he probably is upset because he – one, he could just be upset that his team got relegated, but two, he might know, because more than likely that will probably be the end of him at Werder Bremen. And that's the team that he came over to when he was 18 years old, and they've helped develop him into a good player. And that probably playing his last ever game, and that your last ever game being a relegation that stings a little bit. But hopefully he'll get his move. There's been a lot of mid-table level Bundesliga clubs that are interested in him, and I think there's even a little bit of outside interest outside of Germany. But at the same time, the fact that he did just get relegated outright instead of having to play in that playoff final he'll get to play in the Switzerland friendly coming up for the U.S. men's national team, and so will DK. And I don't think Carter Vickers on the team for that friendly, but DK he's on the roster, so he'll get to come play as well. Whereas if they won those games, they wouldn't have been able to come because they would have been in certain playoff finals for their respective leagues.
All right, well, enough of the bullshit. Let's get to the good stuff.
That was depressing.
Yeah, enough of that.
That's what we had to get out of the way.
Yeah.
We want the bad news first.
Yeah, bad news. Now we got the good news. While Josh got relegated from the Bundesliga.
Well, I thought you said enough about the bad news.
All right.
Just beating a dead horse over here.
So while Josh got relegated from the Bundesliga, 2014 World Cup super sub Julian Green and his team Greuther Fürth got promoted to the Bundesliga on the final day of the season, down to 10 men and losing 2-1. Green scored an absolutely massive goal to tie the game and push his team back into the German top flight division.
Yeah, so we talked about it last pod, but the way it works in Germany is obviously the team that wins the Bundesliga 2, they automatically get promoted. The team that finishes second gets automatically promoted. And then the team that's in third, they play that one-off game against the team that's in 18th in the Bundesliga to decide between the two of them who gets promoted. And going into the day, they were in that third spot, but the team that was in the second spot, they lost their last game. And so Greuther Fürth, if they drew because their goal differential was better, or whatever the tiebreaker is in Germany, I don't know if it's goal differential or like head-to-head, but their whatever tiebreaker, they had the tiebreaker over that team. And so if they drew the game on their final day, they would go into the Premier League. And down 10-1, they had 10 men as well, and Green came up with a huge goal. And so it's good to see him going back into the top flight division. And we're going to talk about the Switzerland roster and the Nations League roster lately, but he got called up to the friendly roster against Switzerland. So it's good to see him back in the national team picture. Yes. He's a guy that's played really, really well in the Bundesliga, in the second division in Germany this year. And hopefully, I'm sure he'll still be with the same club next season in the Bundesliga. So hopefully he can kind of keep rising his stock in the U.S. men's national team.
Yeah, and our Nats abroad also won some more trophies over this past week. It's just normal now.
Some regular shit.
We've been over this before.
What is this, like 6 of 7 weeks where we've had trophies?
Another one.
I've lost count, man. I don't even know, dude.
It's been at least double-digit trophies within the past month and a half for our Nats abroad.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna
new normal.
Yeah,
and we'll have at least one more. Either Stefan or Pulisic will win
sure. Probably Pulisic, but
I don't know if that's true.
World Cup next.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then the World Cup. We forgot about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're gonna start it off in Italy. Weston McKenzie started for Juventus and assisted a goal in a Coppa Italia final victory. He became just the second ever American to win the trophy after our boy Michael Bradley, who won it with Roma.
Yeah, Michael Bradley. That was back when he was regarded as like the best U.S. men's national team player, and kind of been all downhill since then. But he was the first ever American to win that trophy. Weston becomes the second. He got a nice little assist. I'm pretty sure like early in the game he basically like passed the ball backwards directly to the opposing team's player, and that could have bit him in the ass, but the dude missed or it got saved. But yeah, he got a nice little assist, and it's weird. It happened like on Tuesday or Wednesday, and I saw a tweet. Shout out to Stuff Podcast. Listen to them. They're a U.S. men's national team podcast. But they were like talking about how Weston McKenzie winning a major trophy in Italy is like on a Tuesday is just like normal shit for us now. Whereas if it was like just 3 or 4 years ago, we'd be going insane over him winning something like that. So that kind of tells you where we are as a nation right now from a footballing standpoint. That's very exciting.
We're honestly being spoiled as
fans, for real.
Like we should seriously appreciate this shit because it was not happening not too long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so McKenzie and Juve then followed that up with a victory over the weekend, and with Napoli dropping points, they were just able to eke out a 4th place finish and secure Champions League football next season.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of Americans next week in the Champions League. We already got a bunch from Germany. I'm going to have a few from England. Got a few from Brandon Aronson. If he doesn't make a move, he'll be in it with all RB Salzburg. We have a few more guys actually that we need to talk about on here that will also be in Champions League football next year. But I bet you it's probably got to be the most Americans that have ever played in the Champions League in one season.
It's fucking crazy. Like it's literally it's
regular shit, which is it's incredible to think as like an American soccer fan that your players playing in the Champions League is just some normal stuff now.
Yeah, it feels like we have like at least one person coming from like all these leagues around the world. It's kind of cool.
At big teams, big clubs.
But yeah, so good for McKenzie and Juve on that. But yeah, Timothy Weah and Lille wrapped up the League One trophy yesterday with a 2-1 win. They were able to up in PSG's dominant run in the league and shockingly win the title.
Yeah, PSG had just won the last 3 or 4, I believe, and also like 7 of the last 9. And so I don't think anyone saw Lille being the one that challenged. Maybe like Lyon, that was probably like the second best pick. But they wrapped it up. PSG obviously didn't play as well in the league this year as they would have expected, but give credit to Lille. They took advantage of it and they played very, very well. So like we just brought up a bunch of guys being in the Champions League next season. Timothy Weah will also obviously be a part of that as well for Lille.
Yeah. But yeah, so over into some big performances from the past week in Europe. We'll start in Belgium, of all places. U.S. men's national team center back Mark Mckenzie put in a huge performance for Genk in a 2-1 victory over Club Brugge to close out the season. That result means that Genk will be playing Champions League football next season.
Yep, that's what I was kind of referring to earlier when I said we just talked about Timothy Weah and now Mark Mckenzie. He center back over playing for Genk, obviously. I think Club Brugge. I don't know if they won the league. I would maybe they did, or it might have been like Anderlecht or somebody like that. But I know Club Brugge is a very good team over in the Belgian league, and so that's a big win on the last day if it's securing you Champions League football. And apparently, like according to they do like the FIFA does the player ratings. He was like the second highest rated player for the game, so he obviously had a really good performance for them. And he's somebody that was playing a decent bit for them, especially like during the middle of the season. Then it seemed like kind of fell out of favor for a couple of months, but for the past month or so leading up into the end of the season, he's been established back as a starting center back for them. That's one of our like weaker like depth positions on the national team, so it's good to have a dude putting in performances, and he'll be playing in the Champions League next year. So just another guy to keep your eye on.
Absolutely. But yeah, and then we were talking about him earlier. Brendan Aronson wrapped up his season for RB Salzburg with a couple more assists in a game over the weekend. The U.S. men's national team winger just continues his great run of form, and hopefully that translates to the summer with the national team.
Yeah, another guy. He'll be playing in the Champions League next year unless he makes a move in the summer.
Hey, make that move to Leipzig.
Yeah, that's
that way you're still playing.
That's what a lot of people think he would. If he does move from Salzburg, it'll probably be to Leipzig. So.
Yeah. That way you got the link up with Tyler Adams too.
But he 2 assists in the season. I mean, he's just been influencing game. He's probably been one of Salzburg's best players ever since he got there in the January transfer window. But
already a club legend.
Yeah. But we have this friendly coming up against Switzerland, and obviously Pulisic won't be there because he's going to be playing in the Champions League final the day before it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if Aronson's maybe that starting left winger in that game. And he deserves a start. He's been really, really good.
Yeah, he has been.
So speaking of that Switzerland game, we need to get into that game. We'll go over the roster real quick. So the U.S. men's national team on I believe it was either Wednesday or Thursday released their roster for the Switzerland friendly. It included 27 players. So this is not the roster for the Nations League, which we actually just got today. So we'll talk about that in a second. But this is a roster with a bunch of players that he thinks will play in the Nations League, plus a few fill-in guys because you have extra few spots. And like we said, Pulisic will be in the Champions League final. Zach Steffen will be on the bench in the Champions League final, so they obviously couldn't come into this. So let's go over the roster real quick. Just one game for these guys, but we'll break it down a little bit for y'all right now. Ethan Horvath from Club Brugge. Speaking of them a few minutes ago, he is one of the goalkeepers. No surprise really there. Probably our number 2 right now after Zach Steffen, so I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to start in that game. David Ochoa, who that's an interesting inclusion. Obviously, he was a guy that shined really well for the U23s in Olympic qualifying, but he also did have that huge mistake that ended up being the game-winning goal for Honduras to knock the U.S. out of the Olympics or any chances of making the Olympics. But besides that, he was probably the U23's best player. So he has earned his full-time starting job now at Real Salt Lake. So I think he's still only like 20 years old, 21 years old. He's kind of that next generation of goalkeepers after Zach Steffen and Horvath. And Ochoa, in my opinion, is a guy that if he plays good for the U.S. men's national team and for his club for the next year and a half, I wouldn't be surprised seeing him as like that third goalkeeper on a World Cup roster. So as much as we said Horvath will probably play, I wouldn't be upset if maybe like Horvath played 45 and Ochoa played the other 45. The third goalkeeper is Chituro Adunze from Leicester City. This is his third camp he's going to be called up to. He didn't play in the previous two. Not going to play in this one either. I think he's only 18 or 19 years old. Really just one for the future one. We're kind of scouting out. He's a dual national. So he's almost kind of just like a roster filler there. But it's good to get him around some of these older guys and establish internationals, get him some experience. And hopefully he likes the guys and we can convince him to become a U.S. men's national teamer full time.
Bro, I'm super excited about these defenders, though. Like,
Yeah.
This is exactly what you want, with the exception of Chris Richards.
Yeah.
'Cause he's not in there, but
John
everybody
Brooks,
else.
obviously, that's our stalwart.
The wall, baby.
One of the best defenders in the Bundesliga this last
In the
season,
world.
helping his team get promoted, or not promoted, but helping his team get Champions League football for next year. He is in it. That's good to see. I actually think that he didn't play, or he was a doubt. I don't even know if he played for Wolfsburg this last weekend because of like a sore, like something was sore. I think it was like a toe or something like that. But that could be turf toe. You never know. And turf toe can kind of suck. But
What's your fucking mouth?
yeah, for real. You're talking about the wall of
Alleged.
Brooks.
The wall, bro.
The
Fuck
wall
you.
of fucking Brooks.
What a casual, bro. Holy
God.
fuck.
Holy fuck.
So he gets called in. Our other center backs, exciting one here. As Jake just said, Chris Richards unfortunately is injured, so he's not in this camp. But something very exciting, a fellow Bayern man, even though Richards is on loan right now, but Justin Shea, the 17-year-old center back that we have talked about a lot for the past month or so, how we just kind of had this meteoric rise at Bayern Munich. Has started to play consistently for Bayern Munich too. And a lot of people think that he could make his senior debut some point next season. He gets called up, and I'm pretty pumped about that.
I'm all for that.
Yeah, he hopefully he gets his debut. He's only played for the U.S. men's national team, like in youth tournaments, even though he could potentially become a Germany player. But you get him into his first ever senior national team camp is with the U.S. So you hope that can help, and he can be around some of these guys like John Brooks and kind of build relationships with some of these other young guys. A young guy in the defense like Sergio Dest. So I'm excited to see him. I don't know if he'll start just because you kind of have to keep preparation for that Nations League game on the 6th of – I think it's on the 6th of June. Or actually, it might be on the 3rd of June. It's like only a few days after this game. You have to keep that in mind, and you don't want to give him minutes if he's not going to be a part of that. But I would like to see him at least make a cameo off the bench. I want to see what he's all about because only heard good things about him. So excited to see him in the camp. Another center back. We talked about him just a little while ago. Mark Mckenzie gets a deserved call up. Wonder if he'll be playing. Or if he'll be playing or not. But yeah, he gets the call up. He's another center back on the roster. Another fellow American in the Belgium league, Matt Miazga, also gets a call up. No surprise there, especially with Chris Richards being out. And we have to mention Aaron Long too, tore his Achilles earlier in the week, so he's no longer going to be on the roster for this game or the Nations League or anything like that. Yeah, so that sucks for him. But Matt Miazga, no surprises on the roster. Tim Reen on the roster. I'm not against that. He's a left-footed center back. It kind of seems like the wave now.
He's a veteran too.
Yeah, it seems like the wave now where you want a right-footed center back on the right side and a left-footed center back on the left side. If that's what we want to do, then so be it. And he's a guy that can cover at left back too if we need it. So I'm not against that. And like you just said, he's a veteran. He got a lot of experience. I'm fine with that call-up. And then we move into our fullbacks. Reggie Cannon from Boa Vista got called into the camp. No surprise there. Anthony Robinson, probably our first choice left back right there right now. So no surprise with him getting called up. Sergio Dest, obviously one of our best players from Barcelona. No surprise there. DeAndre Yedlin got a call up again.
I'm okay with that.
That's good. I like seeing him back in the picture. It almost seems like he's been out of the fold for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And he's back in. Hopefully he gets to play against Switzerland or gets to play at least sometime soon. We have a lot of games coming up in the summer where it's going to be split roster, so he will get his chance to play for the national team at some point this summer and hopefully prove himself again. And then another exciting one, we only got to see him for a little bit against Northern Ireland, and that's Brian Reynolds from Roma, the young 19-year-old wingback. Has actually played a few times for Roma near the end of the season, and I really liked what I saw from him, like that 20-minute stint off the bench against Northern Ireland. So I'm hoping that he'll get maybe some minutes in this game as well. But then again, there's, you want to use this game is because it is a friendly as let's see some of these new players and these young players, but you're also preparing for that Nations League game that's like 4 or 5 days afterwards. So I don't know. You take what you can get from the roster. I want to see some of these young guys, but I don't want these starters to go into that game against Honduras and not be ready to play.
Yeah.
Moving on to the midfielders. I think this is a very, very exciting group too. For the first time ever, ladies and gentlemen, we have Weston McKennie Tyler Adams and Yunus Musa all on the same roster. I think that's our midfield three. Adams at the 6, Musa and McKinney at the dual 8 spots. I am very, very excited about that.
Yep.
Then obviously some fillers. Kellen Acosta, who played really, really well in that first friendly last month. He gets the call in from Colorado Rapids. Julian Green, we talked about him earlier, very deservedly gets another call up. He'll probably play in like a number 10 spot if he's listed under midfielders, but if he comes in the game, I would expect him to be playing as like a number 10. We might switch to the formation a little bit when he's in. But Sebastian Lletget, been on this pod before. The dude gets the job done.
Solid MLS player.
I'm not against him being on any roster. He's a guy that a little bit older, like 28. He is a veteran, and it seems like all the younger guys really like him too. So, guy that's good to be on the roster. You know he's going to do a job for you, and somebody that's good around the locker room as well. And then finally, the last midfield spot goes to Jackson Yule, one of the better players for the U23s at the Olympic qualifiers. Obviously, scored that great goal that didn't end up meaning much in the end. But he gets a call up from the MLS San Jose Earthquakes. Once again, not really against him getting called up. There's 27 players in this roster, so you're going to have a few extra guys that maybe wouldn't get called up in normal circumstances, and I'm completely fine with him getting called up. Moving on to the forwards, we got Daryl DK. He got his big call up in because Barnsley did lose that championship playoff semifinal. He will be able to play in this game, so hopefully we get to see him. Matthew Hoppy, he got his first ever call up. I want to see him as well. Obviously, he came on like with a bang with that hat trick for Schalke, but didn't really do much until recently, where he got back on the score sheet.
I want to see him and DK honestly play some, just because I want to see what both of them can do when they actually have a fucking solid team to give them the ball and set up stuff for them, because we haven't been able to see that at all with both of them with their teams. So
DK is just like, oh yeah, here, get this long ball and score. And then Hoppy's like, well, we'll have like 10% possession, but hopefully you can score when we have that 10% possession. Yeah. So those are two of the strikers. We got two more. Josh Sargent. He made it onto the roster, of course, probably the number one striker right now for the national team. And he's another guy. Get him away from the talk shit he has to play around with his club team and come play for the boys in red, white, and blue. So he got called up, and then Jordan Cebachu had a pretty good season for young boys. Obviously, recently over the past few months announced his allegiance to the U.S. men's national team. The 24-year-old who was actually on the books, I believe, at Lille, and was on loan at Young Boys, but he recently just made that loan permanent, so he'll be there full-time next season. But he got the call up, a good guy to bring off the bench. I think he's like 6'2", 6'3", but he gives you a little bit something different. He's good in the air. So like him getting called up. Like we said, Christian Pulisic, because he's in the Champions League final, he's not going to be called up for this game, so he's not on the roster, but our boy Gio Reyna is. He's another guy that finished this season strong at Dortmund as they were able to get Champions League football. And then, like we talked about earlier, Brendan Aronson, he got called up, likely will start at that left wing spot. I think he at least deserves to in this game because of Pulisic being gone. And then it's good to see Timothy Weah back on the roster. It seems like he's really been snake bitten the past year and a half with injuries. Even though he's played a lot more for Lille this season, it seems like whenever the U.S. men's national team window comes around, he's hurt. So he hasn't been able to get called up for the last couple of friendly windows that we've had this year. But he does get called up for this one. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see him in a national team shirt again. And so that is the roster versus Switzerland. Not going to be an easy game. Switzerland, I believe, they're at least a top 10 team nationally. They might actually be top 5. I know at one point they were like 3rd or 4th. I don't know if that's the current rankings or not, but they're a very good side. They have a lot of established players playing in Big Five leagues in Europe. They're a team that's going to be formidable at the Euros this summer, which is what they're going to be prepping for. So it's not going to be an easy game. And it's in Switzerland too.
We're going to whip their ass.
It's in Switzerland too. What roster do you want to see for this?
Like my starters?
Yeah, your starters.
Dude, this is tough. But
I
think
all the best players.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, honestly, dude, because I know it's a friendly. I know we want to win and beat Switzerland and establish ourselves. Like, yeah, we deserve to be in the top X amount of teams. But at the same time, dude, there's so many players on this roster that I want to see play with actually good players, like we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the back line, a lot of these guys I've seen play before, but I want to see and they don't have to start. Well, actually, let me go for my starters. I want Brooks and I want Shea in my starting 2 center backs. I think that could be a disgusting duo. And then obviously Dest at right back. That's a no-brainer. And then I want to see Anthony Robinson out at left back. The back line is pretty much.
What about who
the
you going
same.
for in goal?
Oh, goal. I wouldn't mind Ochoa just because he did look really good, except for that one mistake in the U23s. But I think I'm probably going to have to go with Horvath as my starter. It's just he's been there longer. He's had some experience, and he's good. In the midfield, I'm probably going to go with McKennie, Musa, and Tyler Adams. I'm
looking forward to watching that midfield.
I don't see any other midfield that's better than that.
That's
Brendan Aronson as a sub. I think that would be the best, the next option.
You want Aronson in the midfield? I was thinking him out wide.
Oh, yeah, maybe. I just see him in the midfield category, that's why.
Oh.
But yeah, and then forward, I kind of want Weah on the wing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, this is tough. At that solo striker, I wouldn't mind seeing Sargent, DK, or Hoppy, but I think I want to see what DK's about.
Yeah.
And then, maybe Aronson on the left wing since we don't have a Pulisic going into this. But also, God, dude, Reyna. I don't want to leave him out.
Yeah, because you know he's probably going to be your starter on the other side of Pulisic in the Nations League games.
Yeah, so maybe.
But he could come on and at least play. He might not need to start. But.
Yeah. So that's mine.
Yeah, so I think mine's pretty similar. I'm going to go for Horvath, too, in goal. Obviously, John Brooks. I'm actually going to go with Matt Miazga at center back just because I think that's going to be our pairing in the Nations League because I don't think he'll start well, we haven't even talked about the Nations League roster, but I don't think he's going to start Mark Mckenzie over him. And also, I don't think he'd run out Tim Ream and John Brooks. That's just 2 left-footed guys. Plus, they're both very, very slow. My only problem with that is that Miazga isn't very fleet of foot either. So I'm a little worried about that lack of pace at center back.
We definitely got height, though.
That's true. We better not be giving up any set piece goals, and we probably should be scoring a few as well. But yeah, so I'm a little worried about that. But I think that's the duo that Berhalter will go with. So that's why I want to see them kind of get a little warm up game together against Switzerland, against a team that's probably better than anybody will play in CONCACAF. Maybe Mexico might be close to them, but rankings don't lie. They're ahead of Mexico. They're ahead of all of us. They're ahead of every team in CONCACAF. So if they can look decent against Switzerland, then I think they'll be all right in the Nations League games coming up. Left back, like you said, I want Anthony Robinson, and then right back, Sergio Dest. I don't want Dest and Robinson really to play more than 45 minutes, but I do want them to start, and because that, in my opinion, will be your back four. It's going to get some continuity with that back four.
Yeah.
Midfield, mine's the exact same. I want to see that McKennie, Adams, and Musa combination. Does that work? It should. It's our 3 best midfielders. A lot of athleticism, a lot of technical ability. And even, they're all of them are young. I think Adams and McKennie are 22 versus 18. So that could be your midfield 3
I feel
for a while.
All 3 of them just run.
Yeah.
And they've
all got engines.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then I think you have the discipline with Adams, put him at the 6. You've got McKennie who can kind of be a loose screw and just run up and down the pitch like you're playing pro clubs, and he can get caught out of position. But because you have the discipline of Adams, and then Musa, I think to an extent has that discipline as well, that he'll stick back and defend. I like that balance, and I like that trio together. So they would start for me. I want to see Timothy Weah play, but I'm going to say off the bench. I want to see Gio play. I want to see him start on the right side. I want to see Aronson, like you said, on the left side. And then I'm going to go for, like you, I'm going to go with Daryl DK. Kind of like Weah, I want Sargent to play because he'll be the starter for the Nations League. But I think DK should start. And then, I don't know, I want Hoppy to play too. But maybe they can put Hoppy I think Hoppy for Schalke has played on the wings before. So maybe he could come in and play out wide, or they can switch the formation up and go to a 2-striker set or something. But yeah, so that's what my lineup would be. It's pretty similar besides a couple of people.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that game. That's on Sunday afternoon, I believe. So it's in Switzerland, so I'd guess probably 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock here. But excited for that game. And then today they released the Nations League roster, which cut some players off of this roster and added a few on. We'll just go over it real quick. We don't really have a Nations League game to preview this week. We'll preview it next week, but we just want to give you all the roster. This is who you'll be seeing in those games against Honduras, and then hopefully, against Mexico in the final, or if it's Costa Rica, we'll take it as well in the final. But then the roster is Ethan Horvath. He comes in, and then Zach Steffen obviously comes back in from Manchester City. But then for me, this is telling. They brought in David Ochoa. That's the third goalkeeper. From what I've heard, it seems like Matt Turner is probably the MLS's best goalkeeper, if not the best. It's one of the best. And he's obviously an American international. He's only played, I think, a couple of times for the national team. But a lot of people see him as one of those guys that's either third, like the third choice keeper, or maybe even fighting Horvath for that second choice keeper.
Yeah.
But the rationale for him is that they want him to be the guy in the Gold Cup, so that's why you don't call him into this, because he's not going to play over Steffen, and so they're holding him out. And so Ochoa gets the call. I like it. Young kid, only 21 years old. I really fuck with his mentality. He was shithousing in Mexico during those Olympic qualifiers,
Yes.
and also he had that video in the MLS where he after the game after his team won. He grabbed the ball and kicked it into the stands of the opposing fans.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's got a little bit of an edge.
Big dick energy, baby.
I really like Ochoa, and I like how he's getting rewarded for the stuff he's done recently, and he's going to be on this roster. That's cool for him. We move on to the defenders. John Brooks, obviously. Yeah, a lot of the same. I think all of these guys are actually on the original roster. The only one that got cut off was Justin Shea. The reason being for that is, well, number one, yes, he is this great prospect, but he's only 17 years old. Hasn't done anything on the men's national team level. And then on top of that, he wasn't even on the preliminary roster. I don't think he was eligible for it, so he couldn't be called up regardless. So it's the two lefties. It's John Brooks and Tim Ream, and then Mark Mckenzie and Matt Miazga. Obviously, would have liked to have Chris Richards, would have liked to have Aaron Long, but both of them are injured. Richards should be back soon, and maybe that means hopefully we can see Richards in the Gold Cup then instead, because I don't think he'll be out for a long time. But yeah, I do want to see him this summer, and maybe that'll be an okay thing for him. He gets to go play in the Gold Cup and play every single game. Our wingbacks, our fullbacks are Sergio Dest, Reggie Cannon, and DeAndre Yedlin got the call. He gets the call over Brian Reynolds. Probably just an experience thing. I'm not against that at all. And Yedlin is a guy that too has played as a left back before, because we only have one left back, and that's Anthony Robinson. So you have one left back, three right backs. Like we said earlier, Tim Ream can play left back, but I wouldn't want him playing left back against any CONCACAF teams. There's just no point. We should be controlling possession. Maybe Mexico, but I wouldn't want Irving Lozano or Tecatito Corona running at Tim Ream either. So yeah, but Sergio Dest has played at left back as well before. Yedlin has too, so that's kind of your cover for that. I think players available, that's probably about right. I wouldn't have called anybody else in, would you, on the defense?
No, that's basically what I would have done.
I think that's pretty much spot on what I would have done as well. Midfielders, we got the terrific trio, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams, and Yunus Musa are all obviously on the roster. Kellen Acosta also makes this roster. Jackson Yule also makes this roster, which is maybe a little bit of a surprise, but not really, because there's just not a ton of guys to choose from. In that we're not super deep, especially in that number 6 position in the midfield. And so he gets called up, and then Sebastian Lletget, Steady Eddie, gets no surprise there. I think once again, I don't know if I would have changed anything on that either in the midfield.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good rosters for both of them, honestly.
Yeah. Forwards, Christian Pulisic makes his way back onto the roster for this game. He'll be back along with Zach Steffen from the Champions League final for these Nation League games. So he's back in the fold. Brendan Aronson is another winger. Gio Reyna, obviously, is another winger. And then Timothy Weah is another winger alongside of that. We have 6 forwards. 4 of them are wingers, so we only have 2 strikers. And that is Josh Sargent and Jordan Cebachu. How are you feeling about the forwards?
I wouldn't have brought Cebachu.
Yeah.
No saber-tooth tiger?
No saber-tooth.
Damn.
And honestly, I might have taken off a winger, maybe Aronson, honestly, for another striker. I would have had, instead of Cebachu, probably DK. I would have loved to see him play, and then instead of Aronson, bring on another striker, and I'd probably say Hoppy. Honestly, dude, I want to see both of them play.
See, for me, I agree. I think I want a DK on this roster, but at the same time, I don't know if I'd change this, because for me, this just means that DK is going to be the guy for the Gold Cup, which I'm all right with, and that's cool with me. I want to see him playing as like the true number 1, number 9 for a certain amount of games. And Sargent's going to be the guy for this. And so I think you bring a guy like Cebachu, He just gives you something different. He's more of an aerial threat, a bigger dude to bring off the bench to kind of switch up the tempo. And, maybe you can say the same thing about DK. He's a big dude as well that switches up the tempo. So that's kind of where I see that. But would I rather Cebachu playing up starting 5 or 6 games in the Gold Cup, or would I rather DK start those 5 or 6 games in the Gold Cup? And honestly, I don't know. I might have picked DK for this, but I can see where Berhalter is coming from. I'm not really upset at that. And then I like Brendan Aronson. I think he deserves to be on this roster. And you got to remember with these wingers too. You have 2 wing spots instead of just 1 striker spot. So, having a couple of backups is nice. Yeah. And Timothy Weah has played striker before. So if we need another striker, Weah can play there if something weird happened and we had some injuries or wanted to mix something up. So I like that roster. I think it leaves off a few guys that make the Gold Cup pretty exciting in the summer that I look forward to watching.
Yep.
So, that's the roster going forward. Obviously, they have the game against Switzerland first. What do you think? It's kind of hard to predict friendlies, but what do you think in scoreline-wise?
Switzerland? Shit, man. Honestly, probably like 7-1 USA.
Switzerland?
No. Dude, I don't know, man. I could see a draw. Honestly, I could see like a 1-1 draw. Oh, man, that's tough. I'm going to go... You know what? I'm going to go 2-2 draw. I fuck with 2-2.
See, I'm going 1-1. I kind of like your original 1-1 thought process. I don't want to pick us to lose, even though a part of me thinks it might happen just because Switzerland are a good side, and it's in Switzerland, and we're going to be missing guys like Pulisic, and that can kind of be your big – he's our best player. That's your game changer in games against good teams. So I am looking forward to it, though. Hopefully see some of these guys that are these exciting young players. But I'm going to give us a draw. I'm going to say we get out of there. And a 1-1 draw is nothing to hold your head about against Switzerland.
Yeah. Sling, what about you? What do you think?
I'm going 13-0 US.
Amen. I like that.
I think the Swiss can suck my fucking nuts. I think we're going there. We're gonna give them the hammer.
Hell yeah, baby! I love it. That's a
13-0.
I love it. Hell yeah!
All right,
that's a W.
Golly, I respect the confidence, but you wouldn't bet on that, or I'll take your money.
I mean, they're gonna win the game. I know that.
I hope so.
And then what are we saying? Honduras.
That is actually not this week. It's next week, so we'll talk about that on the next pod.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we got time. I think there's 2 Nations League games we'll have to talk about on the next pod. But yeah, so just a Switzerland game on this Sunday. But so now that comes to the end of the U.S. men's national team rundown. We got to get back into some footy from the Big Six. We got 2 games this week. Before we get into that, you know what time it is. It's time for the Sling Speak segment of the pod.
All right. So, as we all know, the Premier League teams are starting to kind of tease their new uniforms for next season, as our sides have seen. Arsenal wore their
them things are just they're so sexy.
Those beautiful, pretty pearl citrine away kits for next season.
But he actually looked up the exact color, the pearl citrine.
Anyway, it was actually on Fanatics, you fucking pussy. And then Chelsea with their home blues that we are questionable about.
Just the stripe. It's fine besides the stripe.
Yeah.
Just a weird, honestly, neon green stripe.
I'm telling you, if they would have just stuck with either one of the patterns that they had, so they have 2 different patterns, a checkerboard and then a weird zigzag shit. If they would have just stuck with one of those and not added the other, I think it would have looked fine.
What's Chelsea? What is it? Nike? Is that y'all's sponsor?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think Nike fumbled on that one.
It's iffy.
I mean, your marketing team's killed that fucking that hype video for them. I thought that was a great video, but anyways, back to the main point I was making. We've seen some interesting uniforms so far get teased, but perhaps the most interesting and most comical one I've seen is none other than Spurs home jersey.
Oh shoot, I gotta see this. I don't think I've seen it.
Have you guys seen this yet?
I haven't.
Just let me know what you guys think of that.
Spurs,
and then I'll continue.
Oh, that's the San Antonio Spurs.
Spurs, they unveiled. Wait,
and if not, I have it pulled up right
Spurs.
here. I can just show you guys.
Yeah, just go ahead and show it.
All right. So take a look at it. What do you guys notice about it?
What? It just looks like a T-shirt.
Yeah, it's all white. You see it?
And it just looks like their normal thing that they like. Their normal jerseys, kind of.
Well, it just looks like a T-shirt. Like it has no other different colors.
Yeah, all white. It looks like a Hanes white T-shirt.
For real.
Anyway, some fans on Twitter have been making the connection, comparing those jerseys to toilet paper.
Let's go.
And
So-
their stadium is shaped like a toilet bowl.
So this leads me to ask my question for you boys: is Tottenham actually shit?
Yes.
Okay.
What do we think of Tottenham?
What do we think of
Shit!
What do we think of shit? We think of Tottenham.
Tottenham.
So
Thank
I think it's
you.
been confirmed that there's
The joke's just right. They're writing their own jokes.
Tottenham
now.
is actual shit at this point. They're a toilet paper squad on the pitch now.
It's like they want to be made fun of. It seems like
They want to play into the bottling jokes and the shit jokes. I don't get it.
It does. It looks like you took some toilet paper, wrapped it around someone, and then put some fucking like
Put the
logos and numbers
on there, yeah.
And then their stadium is that when you look at an overhead shot, it's literally shaped like a toilet bowl.
That's fine.
So yeah,
So-
the Spurs are just writing the jokes for us.
Tottenham will
You're
be
making it
in the
way
bowl
too easy.
next season, literally. Yeah, and of course,
Some toilet paper in the bowl
I think it's
where it belongs.
it's funny too because Harry Kane is the one bottling the jersey
Yeah,
in this
I don't
picture,
know if
and
I'll do it.
it
He's
appears
not
that
gonna
he's
be
not
good.
like escaping a
I'm not
shit
gonna be
club.
idiot.
He's escaping having to wear those god awful.
That was really the one that was the broker of the deal.
That was the
as soon as he saw those jerseys, he's like, "Fuck this! He's fuck this."
that was a straw that broke the camel's back. I guess.
Yep.
So it's gonna wrap it up for me.
All right, and that as he wraps up that, we have to get into our two previewed games this week. Obviously, the Premier League season is over. This will be our last couple. This will be our last week previewing games from the Big Six for a little while until the season, the 2021 and 2022 season starts back up in August, and that is the Europa League and Champions League final. We're going to start off with the Europa League. That is on Wednesday, I believe, in Poland is where that's being played. Wednesday afternoon. It'll be on Wednesday afternoon here in the States. But that is Manchester United versus Unai Emery and Villarreal. Thought we might have an all English Champions League and Europa League final, but Arsenal kind of fucked that.
Psych.
So Unai Emery has beaten Man United before with Arsenal, but will he do it this time around? I don't know about that. How y'all boys? What y'all boys got? Selling, what do you got for the game?
Let's see, I said 2-1 United. I think that United's going to go in there. They're going to smack them around a little bit. I think Emery gets one goal in on them, but
He's going to come off the fucking.
he's going to come off the he's
Just
off the
bang a free
sideline,
kick.
come on the pitch and
Sub himself in.
just hit one. But no, I think Fernandes will strike. He'll get a goal, and then I think I don't know, maybe like Pogba will come up for them, or maybe Rashford. And I think they need to take it 2-1.
I'm gonna one up you. I think Man United fucking takes care of business, and I'm saying that they beat them 3-1.
That's just depressing because that's what else do we go with?
Yes.
I feel like I have to pick something other than that now because I can't not get a perfect score.
No pressure. But
You
make
see-
it 4-1.
I could see this going one of two ways. Number one, if United come out and play well, I watched Arsenal play Villarreal. Villarreal are fucking bang average. We just played like complete dog shit. We deserve to lose, but we played awful. And Villarreal are just not that good of a team. They don't really have anything going forward. If they set up right, which I think Emery will do, they'll be like, sitting back and defending. And so that's why I think United, because they every now and then United do have a problem breaking down teams, just sit back and defend. So a part of me thinks, okay, maybe something weird could happen there. Villarreal could nick a goal on the counter. It could go to extra time. It could go to penalties. But if United play up to their capabilities, I think they could just wipe the floor with Villarreal. And I feel more comfortable picking that. So I'm going to go 3-0 Manchester United.
Okay.
Because they have much better players than Villarreal. But Unai Emery is the king of the Europa League. He's won it 3 times before. So I don't know. I am interested in seeing the game, but
Not Emery can ligma.
that's true.
What's Ligma?
Oh, God. You're an idiot.
All right.
Moving on to the Champions League final. Chelsea, how you feeling? Before you even tell us the score, how you feeling?
I am very anxious. I don't feel 100% confident at all. If you'd asked
If
me
you
this,
did,
Why?
I would tell you you're on fucking like elite drugs.
if you'd have asked me this like a couple weeks ago, I'd be like, yeah, I'm really confident considering like
Fake confidence, regardless.
the past 2 times we played Man City,
They play their B teams.
we beat them. So I mean, what are you gonna say, dude?
Let's be honest.
But the way we ended the season doesn't make me feel good. But We're getting Conte back, and I think, dude, Conte is like our secret weapon. When we play Conte, we're just a better team.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, it didn't really matter for the Man United game, but when we pick these like finals and shit, they could go to extra time and penalties. We're picking the 90-minute result. So if anybody thought about thinking to go to extra time or some shit, just pick the 90-minute result.
Yeah, but because I'm not feeling confident, I'm not gonna pick a high score line. That being said, it's Chelsea ride or die, baby. So I'm picking Chelsea wins this game 1-0.
There is no shot.
One fucking nil.
Y'all are not winning 1-0.
That's a big yikes there.
Sling, what are you thinking?
We're going 2-0 Man City. I think this is pretty clear cut, dry. I think the writing's on the wall. I think Man City comes in. They're
trying to win their first ever Champions League.
Yeah, they're going to be a little upset about not being able to what was the last final they played Chelsea in?
Well, it was semifinal of the FA Cup.
Yes, they're going to be a little upset about that, I think, and they're going to come in. And, yeah, I don't really see Man City giving Chelsea much of a chance here. I'm going to go 2-0.
Yeah, so I've said on this pod in the past, I like City 3-0. Partially as a joke, but also like low-key not as a joke, and it's not a joke anymore. I like City 3-0. I think City are going to come out bad out of hell. I just think like y'all might be getting Conte back, but they're getting De Bruyne back. They're getting Mahrez back. They're getting all these guys back. Foden, all these guys that didn't. Well, De Bruyne did start the FA Cup final before y'all tried to injure him for his life, but they're getting all these guys back that didn't really play full games against y'all the first couple of times. And I also think y'all are playing worse than you were back when you got those wins against them. So I like City 3-0. I think they're going to come out just on fire. And when they're on fire, there's not a team in the world that can beat them. And so if you are a realistic Chelsea fan, like, yes, you're going to hope you can win. But you also know at the same time that if City come out and play their A game, there's nothing you can do. You have to hope that y'all have your A game and they have, like, at best a B game, maybe C. Or D. You know that's true.
You done? You get your
I like him 3-0. You put it down, Sling?
Yeah, it's done.
All right, 3-0. 3-0 City. Up the citizens. I wonder what our City friend has him at, maybe 4 or 5-0. Should I call him?
I honestly could give a shit.
Maybe
Should
6.
I call him?
Yeah.
All right, guys. We're going to introduce y'all to Donnie, our buddy Donnie. We want to get his thoughts on the Champions League final real quick.
Tell him to watch his fucking mouth.
Yeah, tell him.
Yo, what's up, Donnie? Yo, we're on the pod right now, and we're talking about the Champions League final. What's your score prediction? We just want to know.
We're live, by the way. We're not giving you the same
realistically, or like what I expect performance-wise.
I mean, just tell us if you want to be cocky and you're feeling good, give it to us. I said City 3-0. So
be careful.
Honestly, I was about to double that and say 6-0 just because Chelsea's so bad.
All right, looks like I'm whooping his ass later.
You going 6-0?
Yeah, 6-0.
All right, y'all.
Modest. I don't want to go too over.
Yeah, you could have said like 8 or 9, but I respect that. Saying 6. All right, thanks.
I'm gonna give Jake a chance.
All right, I think that's gonna wrap up our pod for today. So
everyone, that was Donnie. That was our buddy Donnie. Peace.
Get him out of here.
Get out of here.
Get that fucking pussy out of here.
Our guy Donnie, just the biggest Man City fan you'll ever meet. Picking Man City to win 6-0.
What a fucking idiot.
In the Champions League final. I respect it. But yeah, Jake has Chelsea 1-0. Sling has City, 2-0?
Yep.
And I have City 3-0. So look, I got to get some perfect picks. Sling's got to get some perfect picks, but this is the one. If we pick it right, because Jake is obviously already picking
right,
it wrong.
Boy.
So we just have to make sure we get it perfect.
I can't wait till both y'all are wrong.
Shut the fuck up.
And according to us, the first ever American to win the Champions League will be Zach Steffen. Although he probably won't play, but it's all right. Medal still counts the same. All right, that's coming to the end of this podcast. Before we get out of here, we obviously got to give our winners and losers of the week. I got a winner of the week. I'm going to just go ahead and give mine. Liverpool, Jurgen Klopp, we talked about it earlier, he said that this is his greatest ever achievement as a Liverpool manager. I think that's bullshit, but it still is a very nice achievement.
He won the league like a year ago.
Yeah, won the Champions League the year before that. But it still was a really good achievement after how bad of a position they were in. 10 10-plus points off the top four just like a month and a half ago. And they're doing it without Van Dijk. They're doing it without Joe Gomez. They're doing it without their captain, Jordan Henderson. They've had some other like small injuries throughout the season as well, which every team has. But they're doing it without a bunch of big players from those teams that won the Champions League and the league. And so top four, they finished third actually. Not the season they won. They didn't win any trophies. Obviously coming into it, they were thinking Premier League, Champions League, maybe win an FA Cup too. But in the end, they do have something to show for it. And they will be playing Champions League football next season with a much stronger squad, so they could be back next year very quickly. Who's y'all's winners this week?
I think my winner is probably going to be Man City. And the reason I say this is one,
they're about to win a Champions League final.
They won the Premier League, which they needed that because that's the only thing they're going to be winning this year. And but anyways, the real reason is for the send off that they gave my man Aguero. That was
cool.
That was class, and that was cool as fuck.
Aguero.
And Martin Tyler even made that so much better with the call, the flashback to the old call over. And so Man City's definitely my winner. What about you, Sling?
My winner for this week is Pepe because once again he just keeps silencing the fucking haters. I'm getting sick and tired of the slander on Twitter from pussy ass motherfuckers that don't know shit.
On God,
they don't watch the games.
Talk to them.
They just get on there and they're like, "Oh, 70 fucking million fucking pounds." And fucking
he's not worth that fucking much,
like,
man.
Shut the
go
fuck
brush
up.
your
Yes,
teeth,
he is.
fuck.
Go smoke another fag. That's a cigarette. Okay,
that is what they call them, and because I've actually listened to Arsenal Fan TV before. I think it was Don Robbie, the head of that channel. He said that, and I was like,
dude, at the Henderson.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's what they call cigarettes.
She called it a fag.
Yeah,
that's what they call cigarettes in the UK.
So yeah, in case anyone wanted to get offended.
What about your loser, Sling?
Oh, my loser, definitely Leicester City.
Yeah, that's all.
Fuck.
Can we just do it quickly?
I think everyone.
Leicester City.
Leicester fucking City. Can't spell Leicester without L, baby.
Yeah, that's just
an easy loser for all of us.
They've done great things over the past few years, turned into a prominent club in England, but 2 years in a row of being in the top four for that long, and both years they choke it on like the last day of the season.
Bottling bitches.
Yeah. Out-bottle the bottlers. Just is a shame.
Shit's sweet.
All right, that's coming to the end of this podcast. Appreciate everyone for tuning in this week. Before we get out of here, obviously though, we got to tell everyone what we learned this week.
I got mine if y'all don't.
No, go ahead.
All right. So I don't know if any of the viewers have ever taken a creatine before, but I started that recently. And you're supposed to drink a lot of fucking water because it gives you the best results.
He's on steroids, basically.
Yeah. I think I pissed a record fucking 12 or 13 times yesterday. It was fucking wild.
That's all. My dog does it on one walk, so you're not special.
All right. Well, I'm not a.
Well, it's like this was different trips, not just him tinkling as he's
walking. But yeah, no, literally, I'm pissing like a fucking racehorse. It's fucking wild. But yeah, that's what I learned.
Jake never learns anything on the pod. It's just like in his regular life.
I thought this when we were.
So I was at the grocery store. I noticed that they have avocado oil. Like, what is this?
What'd you learn this week, Sling?
Fucking hell. I guess you go ahead. I'm still thinking.
See, I low-key am too. These people are gonna have to bear with us here.
See, at least I have my shit ready.
Yeah, I mean that is true. All right. Well, what I learned is that Jake continues to have this fake confidence in his team, picking Chelsea to win. He's sacrificing an L in the monthly picks to it, which is kind of crazy. But
it's not gonna happen.
I respect the loyalty as a fan, but at some point it becomes delusion, And I'm happy that me and Sling are here to humble him a little bit, and he will be also humbled on Saturday.
I learned that Jake's a brave little guy picking against Man City this weekend. That is
learn something new every single podcast. And that's why we're here. We hope that you all learn something new this podcast.
We got to teach the people something every now and then.
We hope you all enjoy this podcast. We're coming to the end of it now. End of the Premier League season this week. We will be back next week to talk about the Europa League final, talk about the Champions League final. Wonder how Jake's mood is going to be for that podcast. We'll also talk about the Switzerland friendly on Sunday from the U.S. men's national team, as well as previewing the Nations League games. Also, a thing that I want to do, I don't know if y'all are down to do it, is at some point release because our podcast will probably start getting a little bit shorter since it's the end of the season. Obviously, you just don't have as much content to talk about. But I want to do like a review. Like, so me and Sling will get on a pod. We'll do an Arsenal season review, get some player ratings, and then I can hop on here with Jake and he can do a little Chelsea season review. So I was thinking like maybe next week me and Sling could do our review. Not during the pod, it would be a separate one actually. I was thinking like we could record it and then release it maybe on like a Wednesday or Thursday. Me and Sling could do that next week, and then me and Jake could do it the week after. Just a little bit extra content to make up for the lack thereof that will be from this summer because of there being no games. So,
Because we love all our fans.
so if you are an Arsenal or Chelsea fan, definitely look forward to those individual podcasts. We'll be doing those in the future. And appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you liked what you heard, please follow or subscribe to the podcast. Leave us a review down below. We'd really appreciate a 5-star review. Follow us on social media. We are on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Look for Clueless Yanks on any of those platforms. You'll find us. Like I said, we'll be back next week on Monday evening releases here in the States. Very early morning releases on Tuesday over in Europe. Listen to the pod. Whenever, listen to it while you're working out. Listen to it while you're in the bedroom. Listen to it while you're taking a shower, while you're taking a shit. Listen to it whenever. That's the beauty of podcasting.
Listen to it while you're murdering somebody. Who gives a fuck?
And thanks everyone again, and we will catch you all next week.
Adios, y'all.
Sayonara.
Take it easy, everyone.